Commander Kim stood at the viewport of his ship, watching stars streak by as they traveled to the rendezvous point. His weathered face reflected in the glass, scars telling stories of countless battles across the galaxy. 20 years leading, the Black Stars had made him the most feared mercenary commander in 3 systems. "Sir, we're approaching the coordinates," said Officer Han, his voice crisp through the comm. Kim nodded. "Prepare my shuttle." The Galactic Council rarely contacted mercenary groups directly. Usually their work came through layers of intermediaries, giving both sides plausible deniability. A direct contract meant something big, something the Council's regular forces couldn't or wouldn't handle. The shuttle docked with the massive Council diplomatic vessel, and Kim walked alone through the sterile white corridors. 2 guards in ceremonial armor escorted him to a meeting room where Counselor Bay waited, her elegant robes contrasting with the utilitarian surroundings. "Commander Kim." "Your reputation precedes you," she said, not offering her hand. "Let's skip the pleasantries," Kim replied, taking a seat without waiting for permission. "Your message mentioned generous compensation. I'm listening." Bay's lips tightened briefly at his rudeness, but she activated a holographic display showing a remote planet, mostly brown and gray, dotted with industrial sites. "This is RX-7, a mining outpost in the outer rim, rich in rare metals essential for quantum drive cores." She enlarged the image of a large mining complex. 3 standard. Months ago, the human workers seized control of the main facility. They've since captured 2 others. Kim frowned. "A labor dispute? Seems beneath the Council's concern." "It became our concern when they declared independence and started selling resources directly to frontier worlds, undercutting Council prices by half." Bay's voice hardened. The local governor attempted to resolve the situation. His ship was destroyed with all hands. Now Kim understood. The Council couldn't send their fleet without revealing how seriously they took this threat. A small rebellion successfully defying authority could spread like wildfire. "Your task is simple," Bay continued. "End the rebellion. Restore Council control. The payment will be 20 million credits. Half now, half upon completion." Kim kept his expression neutral, though his heart raced. 20 million was enough to retire his entire crew to luxury worlds. Something wasn't right. "What aren't you telling me?" he asked. Bay's eyes narrowed slightly. "The miners are humans." "From Earth," Kim stated flatly. "Yes, Class 12 Deathworld natives." The room seemed cooler suddenly. Everyone in the galaxy knew about Earth, a planet so naturally hostile that most alien scientists believed intelligent life shouldn't have evolved there at all. High gravity, extreme temperature variations, high oxygen content fueling massive fires, aggressive predators, and constant natural disasters. The few alien visitors described it as a beautiful death trap. "I don't see the problem," Kim said carefully. "They're just miners, not soldiers." Bay touched her console, and the hologram changed to show footage of workers fighting in a low-gravity environment. Their movements were unnaturally quick and precise. One human took a laser blast to the shoulder but continued fighting as if barely injured. "These just miners have already defeated 2 security teams. Their bodies are adapted to hardships most species can barely imagine. They don't need training. Their natural environment prepared them for warfare before they could walk." Kim watched the footage again. The humans weren't particularly large or obviously dangerous, yet the security forces, trained professionals, were being systematically taken apart. "The payment reflects the risk," Bay added, "and the importance of discretion. The Council cannot be seen struggling against a handful of primitive miners." Officer Park's voice echoed in Kim's mind from their earlier conversation. "I've heard stories about humans. They're different. Their planet tried to kill them for millions of years, and instead of dying, they got stronger." Kim dismissed the thought. The Black Stars had pacified rebellions on 30 worlds. They'd fought the spider warriors of Niska, Prime, and the telepathic monks of Tau Ceti. A group of miners, Deathworlders or not, wouldn't be a problem. "We'll take the job," Kim said. "Send the details to my ship. We'll depart immediately." Bay looked relieved. "There's one more thing." She slid a data chip across the table. This contains everything we know about human physiology and psychology. I suggest you study it carefully. Kim pocketed the chip without looking at it. Won't be necessary. The Black Stars have never failed a mission. Later, back on his ship, Kim gathered his officers in the command center. The payment had already been transferred. 10 million credits, the largest advance they'd ever received. Listen up, he announced. We have a new contract. Simple suppression mission on mining outpost RX-7. We leave in 2 hours. What's the catch? Asked Officer Song, always suspicious when the money was too good. Kim hesitated. The rebels are humans. The room went quiet. Lee, his tactical officer, let out a low whistle. Earth humans? Park asked. Deathworlders? They're miners, not soldiers, Kim said firmly. We have better training, better equipment. I heard humans can continue fighting with injuries that would kill most species, Lee said. And their endurance? Enough. Kim cut him off. I won't have rumors and superstition undermining this mission. They bleed like anyone else. Park stepped forward. Commander, with respect, my cousin served with the Council forces near Earth. He said humans consider pain optional. They evolved as pursuit predators. They can keep going long after their bodies should have given up. Kim glared at his second-in-command. Are you refusing the mission, Park? Park straightened. No, sir. Just suggesting we prepare thoroughly. Kim looked around at his crew, seeing uncertainty in their eyes. The Black Stars have never failed. We won't start now. Prepare for departure. Dismissed. As the officers filed out, Kim fingered the data chip in his pocket. Perhaps he would review it after all, just to be thorough. 20 million credits meant this wouldn't be as simple as he'd claimed, but his pride wouldn't let him admit that. Not yet. The Black Star's warship dropped out of hyperspace near RX-7, a gray-brown planet with massive mining operations visible even from orbit. Commander Kim stood on the bridge studying the tactical display. Scan for defenses, he ordered. Officer Song worked her console. Minimal orbital presence, just automated cargo ships and basic satellites. No military hardware detected. They're miners, not soldiers, Kim reminded his crew, though he was speaking to himself as much as to them. Last night he'd finally reviewed the data on humans. The information was concerning. Still, his pride wouldn't let him show doubt. Deploy Scout Team Alpha to Landing Zone 2, Kim ordered. Full environmental suits. I want eyes on the ground. Before we commit our main force. Lee, heading the scout team, nodded grimly. Yes, sir. 4 hours later, Kim paced the command deck. The scout team should have reported back already. Try again, he told Song. Scout Team Alpha. This is command. Report status. Song waited, then shook her head. No response, sir. Third attempt failed. Park approached cautiously. Sir, perhaps we should send a second team to their last known position. Kim's jaw tightened. Prepare Team Beta. Full combat loadout. I'll lead them, Park said. No, Kim replied sharply. I need you here. Send Jin. There. Tension on the bridge was thick as the second team departed in their shuttle. This time, Kim ordered continuous transmission. For 20 minutes, everything went smoothly. The team landed without incident and moved toward the mining complex. Approaching the main entrance, Jin reported, his voice slightly distorted by his suit's comm. No sign of Team Alpha or their shuttle. The video feed from Jin's helmet showed a massive door built into the side of a cliff. Red dust swirled in the thin atmosphere. Hold position, Kim ordered. Something's not right. Wait, Jin said suddenly. Movement at 2 o'clock. The camera swung to show a figure emerging from behind a rock formation. A human, wearing only a simple breathing mask rather than a full environmental suit. The scanner showed the outside temperature was 15 to C, with radiation levels that should require protection. Sir? Orders? Jin asked. Hold position, Kim repeated. Observe only. More humans appeared, wearing minimal protective gear. They moved with an easy confidence that was unsettling, completely at home in the harsh environment. "Sir, I've found Team Alpha's shuttle," another scout reported. The camera shifted to show their first ship partially hidden behind a ridge. No sign of the team. Suddenly, Jin's camera jerked wildly. "We've got movement all around us. They were hiding in the..." The transmission exploded with noise. The video feed spun crazily, showing flashes of combat. Kim glimpsed humans wielding mining tools as weapons, moving with shocking speed. One took a direct hit from a plasma rifle but kept charging. "Fall back," Kim ordered. "Return to the shuttle immediately." The video feeds became chaos. 3 went dead in quick succession. Jin's camera showed him running, his breathing heavy. "They're everywhere," he gasped. "They knew we were coming." Kim watched helplessly as the last feeds went dark one by one. Only Jin's remained, showing him reaching the shuttle, the door closing behind him. "I made it," Jin panted. "I'm the only one. They took down the others like they were nothing. These aren't miners, sir. The way they move, the way they fight. Get back to the ship," Kim ordered. The shuttle lifted off, but suddenly Jin cursed. "They've done something to the engines. Controls aren't responding." The camera showed the shuttle spinning, losing altitude. The last thing Kim saw before the feed cut was the ground rushing up to meet them. Silence filled the bridge. Kim felt every eye on him. "Retrieve all data from both teams' suit recorders," he said finally. "I want to know exactly what happened down there." Hours later, the command crew gathered in the briefing room. The mood was grim as they reviewed the footage. Team Alpha had been ambushed almost immediately after landing. Team Beta had walked into a carefully planned trap. "Look at this," Park said, freezing a frame showing a human taking a direct hit from a plasma rifle. That shot should have killed him instantly. He kept fighting for another 3 minutes. "And this," Lee added, pointing to another clip. "They're using the environment against us. See how they're drawing our teams into areas with higher radiation? They can tolerate it better than we can." Kim watched the footage again. The humans moved with a fluid grace that belied their origin on a high-gravity world. Their attacks were coordinated using simple hand signals and what appeared to be pre-planned maneuvers. "They've mined this area for years," Officer Choi said. "They know every rock, every tunnel. And look at their breathing gear, it's minimal. They can operate in this atmosphere with just those small masks while our teams need full suits." "What about the satellites?" Kim asked. "Why didn't we detect their ambush positions?" Song shook her head. "They must have known our capabilities. They stayed in areas with mineral deposits that interfere with our scanners." Kim leaned back, considering. Their options. 20 soldiers lost already, almost a quarter of his force, and they hadn't even engaged the main group of humans yet. "They're not just stronger or faster," Park said quietly. "They're smart. They're using tactics, not just brute force." A junior officer entered, looking nervous. "Sir, we've intercepted a transmission from the surface. It's for you specifically." Kim nodded, and the officer activated the screen. A human appeared wearing the dust-covered overalls of a miner. His face was weathered, with lines around his eyes that spoke of years squinting against harsh light. "Commander Kim," the human said calmly. "My name is Kang. I'm the elected representative of the free miners of RX-7. I thought we should talk. Before you waste any more lives," Kim kept his expression neutral. "You've killed 20 of my people. I don't see much to talk about." Kang shrugged. "You sent them to kill us. We defended ourselves, but I'm offering you a chance to leave. Take your ship and go. Tell the council we're not their property anymore." "Or?" Kim asked coldly. The human's eyes hardened. "Or stay and find out why species from comfortable worlds don't understand what Deathworlder really means." The transmission cut. Kim looked around at his officers, seeing the unease in their eyes. "Prepare for full deployment," he said. "We're going down there in force." The command shuttle descended through RX-7's thin atmosphere, flanked by 2 assault craft. Commander Kim watched through the viewport as the dusty surface grew closer. The remaining 58 members of the Black Stars were deployed across the 3 vessels, loaded with their best weapons and armor. "All teams check in," Kim ordered through his helmet comm. One by one, The squad leaders reported readiness. Kim had divided his forces into 5 teams, each approaching the mining complex from a different direction. This time they wouldn't be caught off guard. "Remember your training," Kim said to everyone on the channel. "These humans are tough, but they're untrained. We have superior weapons, superior tactics." The shuttles touched down 3 kilometers from the main complex, hidden behind a ridge of rust-colored rock. Kim's team disembarked first, weapons ready. Movement sensors calibrated to human signatures, Officer Song confirmed. Radiation shields at maximum. Kim nodded. "Move out. Keep calm discipline." The mercenaries advanced in perfect formation, their boots crunching on the rocky ground. The mining complex loomed ahead, a sprawling industrial fortress built into the side of a mountain. Massive processing towers belched steam into the thin air. "Team 2 in position," Park reported from the eastern approach. "Team 3 ready," came another voice. When all teams were in place, Kim gave the signal. "Begin the assault. Remember, suppression fire first, then gas grenades. We want to incapacitate, not kill. The council wants workers left alive." The attack began with a barrage of suppression fire. Energy weapons lit up the perimeter of the complex, targeting defensive positions. For a moment, there was no response. Then, return fire erupted from a dozen hidden locations. "They're well armed," Lee shouted over the comm. "Where did miners get military-grade weapons?" "Focus on the mission," Kim replied, firing his own rifle at a human who briefly appeared above a barricade. The Black Stars advanced methodically, using cover and coordinated fire teams. They'd fought together for years, and their discipline showed. Slowly, they pushed toward the main entrance of the complex. "Team 4, deploy gas grenades," Kim ordered. Canisters arced through the air, exploding into clouds of pale yellow gas, a neural inhibitor that should incapacitate any organic being without permanent damage. The mercenaries waited, weapons trained on the entrance. "Something's wrong," Park said suddenly. "They should be affected by now." A moment later, humans burst from the gas clouds, wearing simple filtration masks. They charged the mercenary positions with shocking speed. "Fall back!" Kim shouted as the first line of his soldiers were overwhelmed. The battle devolved into chaos. The humans fought with a combination of mining tools and captured weapons. What they lacked in formal training, they made up for with ferocity and an apparent indifference to pain. Kim watched in horror as a human took 3 shots to the chest and kept fighting, bringing down 2 mercenaries before finally collapsing. Another lifted a mercenary bodily and threw him against a rock wall, the force crushing his armor. "They're too strong in close combat," Lee yelled. "Keep your distance." But the humans pressed forward relentlessly. When one fell, 2 more took their place. Kim fired his weapon until it overheated, then drew his sidearm. "Team 3, report status," he called. "We've lost half our team," came the strained reply. "They're coming through the tunnels. There are passages we didn't know about," Kim cursed. Of course, the miners would know every tunnel and shaft in the complex. His tactical display showed mercenary positions being overrun one by one. "Team 2, Kim called. "Park, do you copy?" "Still here," Park responded, his voice tight with pain. "They've broken through our position, never seen anything like this, Kim." One of them took a direct hit from a plasma cannon. His arm was gone, but he kept fighting with the other. Kim made a decision. "All teams, fall back to the shuttles. Prepare for orbital support." As the mercenaries retreated, the humans pursued. Not recklessly, but with calculated aggression, cutting off escape routes and herding the mercenaries into kill zones. "They're not just strong," Song said, firing behind her as they ran. "They're coordinating somehow. Our jamming equipment should be blocking their comms. They're using hand signals," Kim realized, and whistles. They planned for electronic countermeasures. The retreat became a fighting withdrawal. Every meter was paid for in blood, both human and mercenary. Kim watched his tactical display as the dots representing his soldiers blinked out one by one. Finally, the survivors reached the shuttles. Only 28 of the original 58 remained. Kim was the last to board, providing cover fire as the others scrambled inside. "Get us out of here," he ordered the pilot. As the shuttle lifted off, Kim looked down at the battlefield. The humans were collecting their wounded, showing surprising care for their injured. They made no attempt to shoot down the retreating shuttles. Back on the main ship, the surviving mercenaries gathered in the medical bay. The wounded lay on beds while medics worked frantically to save them. Kim stood in the center of the room, his armor scorched and dented. "What happened down there?" he asked, his voice hollow. No one answered immediately. Then Park, his arm in a medical stabilizer, spoke up. "They're not like us, Commander. They don't fight like any species I've ever seen." "Explain," Kim said. "It's not just their strength or speed," Park continued. "It's how they handle pain and injury. I saw one take a shot that shattered his leg. He splinted it with a piece of metal and kept fighting." Park shook his head. "And they don't give up. When we have them outgunned, most species retreat. These humans, they just get more determined." Officer Choi, nursing a head wound, added, "Their coordination was incredible. No formal training, but they worked together like they could read each other's minds." "And their adaptability," Lee said. "Every time we changed tactics, they countered within minutes. They learn fast." Kim looked around at his battered crew. The Black Stars had never suffered a defeat like this. Half his force was dead or wounded, and they'd barely made a dent in the human defenses. "What do we do now, Commander?" Song asked. Before Kim could answer, Officer Han approached with a datapad. "Sir, we've intercepted another transmission from the surface. It's the human leader again." Kang's face appeared on the screen, looking tired but resolute. "Commander Kim, I hope you're reconsidering my offer. You've seen what we can do. We don't want more bloodshed, but we will defend our freedom." Kim stared at the human, seeing not just strength, but intelligence in those eyes. For the first time in his career, he felt true doubt. "We need to rethink our approach," he said finally to his officers, after shutting off the transmission. "Get me everything we have on human physiology and psychology. There has to be a weakness we can exploit." Kang's words echoed in his mind. Species from comfortable worlds don't understand what Deathworlder really means. Now, he was beginning to understand. Commander Kim leaned over the holographic display in the ship's conference room, studying the layout of the mining complex for the 100th time. 3 days had passed since their disastrous assault. Half his force was still in medical recovery, and morale had plummeted. "There has to be a way," he muttered. The door slid open, and Park entered. His arm was still in a medical brace, but he was back on duty. "You wanted to see me, sir?" Kim straightened up. "Yes. I've made contact with someone who might help us understand what we're facing." A moment later, the door opened again. A small gray-skinned alien entered, carrying a portable data terminal. Her large eyes blinked nervously at the mercenaries. "This is Dr. Yoon," Kim said. "She's a xenobiologist from the University of Central Worlds. She's been studying humans for 15 standard years." Dr. Yoon set up her equipment on the conference table. "I came as quickly as I could, Commander. I reviewed your battle footage on the way. Fascinating material." "Fascinating isn't the word I'd use," Park said dryly. "We lost 30 good soldiers." The xenobiologist inclined her head apologetically. "Of course. I meant no disrespect." She activated her terminal, and a holographic image of a human appeared above the table. "Let me explain what you're facing." The image rotated, highlighting different biological systems. Humans evolved on what we classify as a Class 12 death world. To put that in perspective, only 17 known planets in the galaxy fall into that category, and only 3 have produced intelligent life. "What makes Earth so dangerous?" Kim asked. "Everything," Yoon replied simply. "Extreme temperature variations from Arctic cold to desert heat. Areas of high radiation. Atmospheric oxygen content high enough to fuel massive wildfires. Active tectonic activity causing earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, powerful storms, high gravity, countless diseases and parasites, dangerous predators." The hologram changed to show Earth's various environments. Most species evolve in relatively stable conditions, Yoon continued. Humans evolved in constant crisis. Their bodies reflect this. She highlighted the human's skeletal structure. Redundant systems everywhere. They have a backup for almost everything. Lose an organ? Many can function with just one. Massive blood loss? Their bodies compensate remarkably well. We noticed, Park said. Their pain response is perhaps most interesting, Yoon went on. In most species, pain is an absolute signal to stop an activity. In humans, it's more of a suggestion. She brought up footage from the battle, showing a human continuing to fight despite a serious wound. They can actually suppress pain through various mechanisms, including something called adrenaline, that their bodies produce during stress. Kim frowned. What about their psychological makeup? They fought with surprising coordination for untrained civilians. Humans are pack hunters by evolution, Yoon explained. They naturally form tight social bonds and work together under pressure. More importantly, they're problem solvers. Adaptation isn't just a biological trait for them, it's their primary survival strategy. She showed graphs comparing human learning curves to other species. When threatened, most species rely on instinctual responses. Humans analyze, adapt, and overcome. It's why they advance from stone tools to space travel in a mere 12,000 years, while most species take 50 to 100,000 years to make similar progress. So how do we beat them? Kim asked bluntly. Yoon looked uncomfortable. That's the problem, Commander. The more pressure you apply, the more dangerous they become. Threat makes most species cautious. It makes humans innovative and aggressive. Kim paced the room, processing this information. Every species has weaknesses. What are theirs? They're not invincible, Yoon agreed. Their psychological strength can be a weakness. Their strong bonds mean they'll take risks to help each other. And physically, while they're remarkably durable, they're not the strongest or fastest species. Their advantage is endurance, not raw power. So we need to overwhelm them quickly, Kim mused. No more ground assaults. We still have the advantage in space. He turned to Park. Prepare the orbital weapons. We'll target their main power generators and life support systems. Park hesitated. Sir, orbital bombardment will kill most of the miners. The Council wanted the facility intact. I don't care what the Council wants anymore, Kim snapped. This is about survival now. 4 hours later, Kim stood on the bridge, watching as the weapons systems came online. The ship moved into position above the main mining complex. Target locked, Officer Song reported. Awaiting your command. Kim took a deep breath. In 20 years as a mercenary, he'd never failed a mission. His pride couldn't accept defeat, especially not to primitive miners. Fire, he ordered. Nothing happened. Song? Kim turned to his weapons officer. She was frantically working her console. Systems not responding, sir. Something's blocking our control systems. Suddenly, all screens on the bridge flickered. The human leader, Kang, appeared. I wouldn't do that, Commander, he said calmly. We've taken control of your weapon systems. Kim felt cold sweat on his back. Impossible. Our security was designed by non-humans, Kang finished for him. Your encryption is good, but we've had 3 days to work on it. Your ship is currently targeted by your own weapons, along with the orbital defense grid we've reactivated. Kim looked at his tactical officer, who nodded grimly, confirming the threat. What do you want? Kim asked. The same thing I wanted before, Kang replied. Leave. Tell the Galactic Council that RX-7 is now independent. We're willing to continue. Supplying metals, but as free traders, not slaves. Kim's mind raced, looking for options. There were none. And if I refuse, then you'll never leave this orbit, Kang said simply. I've studied your kind too, Commander. You value pride and reputation. I'm offering you a chance to keep both. Tell the Council we were too well armed, too prepared. Tell them whatever saves face. Just go. The transmission ended. Kim stood motionless, feeling the eyes of his crew on him. Sir? Park prompted quietly. Your orders? The bitter taste of defeat filled Kim's mouth. He thought of the 20 million credits, gone now. He thought of the Black Star's perfect record, shattered. All because they'd underestimated creatures from a planet that should have killed them long ago. Plot a course out of the system, he said finally. We're leaving. As the ship prepared to depart, Dr. Yoon approached Kim in his private quarters. Commander, a word? Kim looked up tiredly. What is it, Doctor? There's something you should understand about humans, she said. The Council classifies Earth as a death world because, to most species, it would be fatal to live there. But humans don't see it that way. What do you mean? To them, Earth isn't harsh or dangerous, it's normal, they call it home. Yoon's large eyes blinked solemnly. That's what makes them so formidable. The conditions that would break most species, that's their baseline. Their starting point. Kim considered this as he felt the ship's engines engage, carrying them away from RX-7 and the humans who had defeated the galaxy's most feared mercenaries. They didn't just survive their death world, he said slowly, understanding dawning. They were forged by it. Yoon nodded. Exactly. And now they're moving out into a galaxy that, to them, feels soft and easy by comparison. A chill ran down Kim's spine at the thought. The dimly lit bar on Nexus 8 station was filled with the usual mix of species, traders, smugglers, mercenaries, and others who preferred to avoid official attention. Smoke from various intoxicants hung in the air, creating a blue haze under the flickering lights. In the corner booth, partially hidden in shadow, sat Commander Kim. 3 years had passed since RX-7. 3 years since the Black Stars, once the most feared mercenary group in 3 systems, had disbanded in disgrace. Some had died in the battle against the humans. Others had left after their return, unwilling to be associated with failure. The 20 who remained had gone their separate ways when the Galactic Council blacklisted them for the mission's catastrophic outcome. Kim lifted his glass of blue Centaurian liquor, watching the light play through the liquid. Once bartenders had comped his drinks, eager to curry favor. Now he paid like any other customer, just another washed-up soldier trying to drink away memories. Mind if I join you? Kim looked up to see Park, his former second-in-command. The years hadn't been kind to him either. New scars on his face, a slight limp as he slid into the booth. Didn't expect to see you here, Kim said, signaling the bartender for another glass. Followed rumors, Park replied. Heard you were working. Security on cargo runs, wanted to see for myself. Kim shrugged. It pays the bills. They sat in silence for a moment, 2 veterans of a battle nobody talked about. Finally, Park leaned forward. Have you been following the news from the Outer Rim? Kim hadn't, not really. After RX-7, he'd deliberately avoided anything related to humans or the mining colonies. The memories were still too raw. The RX-7 miners formed something called the Human Trade Collective, Park continued. Started with just their planet's resources. Now they control 15 major mining operations, all independently operated, all former Council worlds. Armed rebellion? Kim asked, surprised. Park shook his head. That's the thing. No fighting at all. When humans show up at a mining colony, the Council forces just leave. Kim stared at his drink. Can't say I blame them. It's not just the Council, Park said. Private security firms, local militias, nobody wants to face them. Word has spread about what one small group of miners did to the Black Stars. The door to the bar slid open, letting in the brighter light from the station corridor. A figure stepped inside, pausing to let their eyes adjust to the dim interior. Kim glanced up, then froze. A human. The effect on the bar was immediate. Conversations quieted. Several patrons found reasons to settle their tabs and leave. Others shifted their chairs to maintain distance from the newcomer. What's a human doing this far into Council space? Kim murmured. Trade negotiations, Park replied. They're everywhere now, establishing diplomatic and commercial relationships. This station signed a resource contract with them last month. The human was average height, wearing simple but well-made clothes in the style of a merchant captain. Nothing about their appearance was particularly imposing, no massive muscles or visible weapons. Yet the bar's hardened clientele, including species known for their aggression, gave them a wide berth. Watch what happens, Park said quietly. The human walked to the bar. The bartender, a four-armed Vexillian who normally made customers wait, served them immediately. They don't need to conquer by force, Park observed. Fear does it for them. No species wants to be the next example. Kim remembered Dr. Yoon's words from years ago. To them, Earth isn't harsh or dangerous, it's normal. They call it home. I've seen new mercenary contracts, Park continued. Standard clause now. No operations against Earth humans or human majority populations. Companies won't even take the jobs no matter the pay. Kim watched as the human took their drink to a small table. Several nearby patrons discreetly moved. To other seats, the human either didn't notice or didn't care. You know what the strangest part is? Park said. The way they're expanding their influence. It's not like any conquest I've seen before. How so? They trade fairly, honor their agreements, protect their allies. Park shook his head in wonder. Planets are requesting human protection. The Council's losing worlds without a shot being fired. Kim thought back to Kang, the human leader on RX-7. He'd offered mercy when he could have destroyed them. Had negotiated when he could have slaughtered. What happened to RX-7? Kim asked suddenly. Thriving, Park replied. Production is up 300%. They've established a training academy where they teach their mining techniques to other species. Even have a council diplomatic mission now. Kim drained his glass. All because one group of miners stood their ground. Against the galaxy's most dangerous mercenaries, Park added with a hint of their old camaraderie. The human at the small table looked up, catching Kim's eye across the room. For a moment, recognition seemed to flicker across their face. Kim wondered if they had access to record archives if his failure was known among them. The human raised their glass slightly in his direction, not a taunt, but something like acknowledgement between warriors. After a moment's hesitation, Kim returned the gesture. You ever think about going back? Park asked. Taking another contract? Kim watched as the human returned to their drink, apparently unconcerned by the empty space other patrons maintained around them. Not against humans, he said firmly. No one does anymore, Park agreed. That's the point. The galaxy's most dangerous warriors won't even take contracts against miners and farmers. Kim thought about pride, about reputation. The Black Stars had been feared throughout the galaxy. Now they were a cautionary tale, a lesson about underestimating creatures from a world that should have killed them. I saw a human child last month, Park said. Little girl couldn't have been more than 8 years old. Fell from a second-story walkway on Cassius Station. Got up, brushed herself off, and walked away with just a few scrapes. Any other species, child would have broken bones at minimum. They're born to it, Kim said. Their world tried to kill them for millions of years. Instead of dying, they adapted. A group of traders entered the bar, talking loudly. They fell silent when they spotted the human, giving the table a wide berth as they found seats on the far side of the room. You know what frightens me most? Park said, watching this reaction. They're still evolving, still adapting. They're learning to operate in zero gravity, in alien atmospheres, and they're spreading everywhere. Colony ships launching daily from their homeworld. The council should have left them alone, Kim said. Too late now, Park replied. The council's talking about offering them formal representation. Better to have them as allies than enemies. Kim nodded slowly. He understood the logic. He also understood the fear. He'd seen what a small group of untrained humans could do when cornered. The thought of facing their actual military forces was unimaginable. The worst part, Kim said, signaling for another drink, is that they don't even need to conquer us. They've already won. How do you figure? Park asked. Kim gestured around the bar, at the wide space surrounding the lone human. Look around. The most dangerous creatures in the galaxy won't even sit near them. They don't need warships when reputation does their work for them. The human finished their drink, left payment on the table, and stood to leave. As they walked toward the exit, the crowd parted effortlessly before them, conversations falling silent until the door closed behind them. In the quiet that followed, Kim couldn't help but smile at the irony. The Black Stars had fallen, but their final defeat had given birth to something unexpected, a galaxy where even the thought of facing Deathworlders made the most hardened warriors hesitate. "To the humans," Kim said, raising his glass to Park. "May we never face them again." Park clinked his glass against Kim's. "No one will," he said. "That's their true victory.